Welcome to another episode of Roll Up a Pour Up. So get your blunt rolled and your drink poured. Alright, now what we here on today, Mr. Roll Up?
Carolina.
Alright, now this is a short. I want y'all to remember the two people at the top, they the suspects, and the guy on the bottom, he the victim. Alright, let's go.
On July 13th, 2023, Jamin and Mariah were sitting in the car. Sitting in the back seat was their two infant kids. The couple parked outside of a convenience store noticed a few men cashing their checks from the long, hard day work. Jamin and Mariah saw the men leave. The couple followed the men down the road for about 10 minutes. When the car stopped, dropped off a man at their home. The driver would eventually park on the side of the road. Jamin had the intention of robbing the men that were in the car. He grabbed his gun, which was an AR-15. Jamin would run up to the car and open fire at close range. The driver, 25-year-old Maquise Lopez, would be shot multiple times. He did try to drive off, but one of the bullets hit him in the head, killing him. The brother and cousin were lucky enough not to have been injured when the shots rang out. Surveillance video would show this whole situation unfold. Jamin would run back to the car. The couple and the two children would speed off from the scene. Jamin and Mariah would be arrested the next day on July 14, 2023. How this happened was surveillance cameras plus city cameras were used to track down the couple. Jamin Tisdale would take his case to trial. The judge would sentence him to 55 years into the South Carolina DOC. Charges: murder, possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime, 3 counts of attempted armed robbery, and 2 counts of unlawful conduct towards a child. Mariah McAteer would plead guilty on December 1st, 2025. Judge sentenced her to 15 years into the South Carolina DOC. Charges: accessory after the fact to murder, 3 counts of attempted armed robbery, and 2 counts of unlawful conduct towards a child. Charleston, South Carolina, on July.
Alright, y'all heard that right? Here we go again, man. Alright, so what you got to say about this, Mr. Roll Up? Alright, well, I'm going to make this short, man. Check this out. So, yesterday I was on Facebook and I was scrolling down my timeline and I seen that little story on my timeline. You know, they gave a little description of it. I'm like, what, is you fucking serious? So I had to go on YouTube. I had to try and pull up a video on it. I couldn't find no actual like video on it, like how I be showing y'all. All I came across was that damn short. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I had to give it to y'all like that, because that was the only thing I could come across on that, you know, situation besides the Facebook post, right? All right. Now, this is what I got to say about this whole situation, right? When you out here robbing people, you got to understand, man, that it's not going to always go your way. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. It didn't go the guy way. The guy that did the actual shooting for the robbery, what was his name? Jazwan, whatever. He thought this was just gonna be a simple robbery. He was gonna take their money and jump back in his car and pull off. You know what I'm saying? Robberies don't always end like that. A lot of times somebody get killed behind these type of robberies. You know what I'm saying? Robbing is a serious ass game. That ain't nothing you play with. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, right, he riding around with his girl and his kids in the car. So more than likely, he told his girl like, "Look, we gonna catch somebody slipping, cashing a check or whatever. We gonna rob them. We gonna have a couple dollars, and we gonna go from there." You know what I'm saying? More than likely, this is the talk that he was having with his girl. And his girl was over there like, all right, fuck it, we need it. We need diapers and wipes. We need milk. You know what I'm saying? So fuck it, let's just do what we got to do. You know, mind you, they got toddlers in the back seat with an S. Yeah, they got more than one child back there, and they said these toddlers. They didn't say they ages, but they said they toddlers. So I'm thinking they anywhere from like 2 to maybe 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? Well, they riding around with these kids looking to rob people, right? So they get them a target. They catch these three guys at a convenience store, right? They cash and they check. They follow them from the convenience store all the way until the driver pulled over on the side of the road. Maybe he was trying to count his money or probably had to make a phone call, who knows, blah, 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 blah. But the suspect followed this guy all the way until he like got away from the convenience store or whatever, thinking that if he catch him somewhere off camera, then this would be a valid robbery. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he did. He caught the guy pulling over on the side of the road. He probably was like, "Big, this is the perfect time to make this hit." You know what I'm saying? So the guy pull over. He jump out the car, run up on him with an AR-15, a rifle at that, right? So he get to his driver door. He run up on him. I'm pretty sure he told them boys come off the money, blah blah blah. They probably had a little argument in between the time, and he ended up pulling the trigger. Right now, if you ask me, I don't believe that he pulled the trigger on purpose. I think what happened was that if y'all ever played with guns, y'all know that triggers like the damn actual pin. It's like, what can you say? It's like touching a pillow. You know what I'm saying? It's real soft and sensitive. So if you got your finger on that trigger and you like lightly put that motherfucker gonna blow. You know what I'm saying? That's just how light the damn trigger is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking he had his finger on the trigger and he probably was getting mad with the little scuffle he had back and forth with the guys. And it probably just forced him to pull that bitch. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that he intentionally meant to do it. I just think it was, the adrenaline rush and things like that made him ended up pulling that trigger. And with an AR-15, you gotta understand, when you pull that trigger, it ain't just one bullet coming out that motherfucker. It's about three of them coming out. You know what I'm saying? So just like the dog said in the description, that the victim was shot multiple times. So when he pulled that trigger, more than likely by mistake, it probably kicked out three bullets. Boop, boop, boop. You know what I'm saying? One of them ended up hitting the guy in the head, killing him. He tried to drive off, but he didn't make it because a bullet hit him in the head and took him out. Right? So with that being said, they never said if the couple got away with any of the money, which I believe not, because again, he had shot this person. If he would have got the money, he would have never had to shoot him in the first place. So if you ask me, he didn't get the money. Like I said, the adrenaline was rushing. He ended up pulling the trigger by mistake. They tried to pull off. The driver ended up dying from a headshot, right? So with all that being said, the suspect go run back to the car with his AR-15, jump in the car and pull off. Pretty sure him and his girl heart pounded. Damn, I just killed this guy. And I ain't even get shit. You know what I'm saying? So now they gotta go hide out somewhere. Well, when the situation happened, of course, the police showed up. They rolled back the surveillance cameras and things like that. And they seen the two suspects following the guys that had just cashed their check. So they put all that shit together and caught their ass. Now, let's go to court. The suspect, The man. He decided that he gonna take his case to trial. See, when you get caught up on a crime, you had a choice to either plea out or take your case to trial. Pleading out means that you admitting that you was wrong, you was guilty for what you did, and you trying to get a lower sentence than whatever the judge would give you. So if your case, if you looking at 20 years and you go ahead and plea out and say, hey, I'm guilty, I did this shit, blah, 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 they might come at you with a plea for like 10 years or something like that. Like, okay, since you admitted it, we ain't gonna bang you. We give you 10 years. That's what a plea deal is. It's a plea to work out a deal with you for your confession, for your guilty verdict. You know what I'm saying? When you go to trial, you saying, hey, I'm innocent. Y'all are trying to wrongfully convict me, and I'm gonna prove this later on down the line. You know what I'm saying? That I didn't do this, right? So he decided that he was gonna play the I'm innocent role. Y'all trying to put this on me instead of just taking a plea deal and getting the fuck out the way. Which, if they did offer him a plea deal, it was probably for something crazy, probably like 40, 50 years anyway. So he like, man, fuck that. I might as well take it to trial and see if I could beat it. You know, he went to trial and of course he lost. When you take the DOJ to trial, do you know that trial costs them a lot of money? Trial costs like $70,000, $80,000. It costs a lot of money. They got to pay for the jurors, their time, all of the people that's on the case, all of them got to be paid, all the paperwork they got to be filed, blah, 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 blah. It's a lot of money that go into a trial. So the way how they see it is if you get found guilty at trial, they gonna give you the maximum amount of time because you wasted their time and the taxpayers' dollars behind going to trial for something you know that you did, right? So he went to trial. Oh, hold on. Let me give y'all the flip side. If you win that trial, then that means you just go home. You know what I'm saying? You get found not guilty at trial, boom, you beat the case. So trial got its ups and downs to it. You can win or you can lose. If you lose, you through. If you win, you go home. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, they play with trial because they know it's like a 50-50 thing that they can win and they can lose. So some people take that risk, especially people that know that they got something like a murder or something like that. A lot of them just go ahead and take that risk. Like, fuck it. Because if I plea out, they gonna give me a lot of fucking time anyway. So I might as well take it to trial and see if I can win this shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm thinking his thinking was. Like, you know what, fuck it, let me just take it to trial anyway. Let's see how it go. Well, he went to trial, he lost. They gave him 55 years. Boom, he done. You can tell he at least 30. So you do the math. 55 plus 30. What's that? 85. So he'd be roughly about 85, let's say 80 to 90 years old by the time he even eligible to get out. You know what I'm saying? And even with that time frame, that don't necessarily mean that they gonna let him out. That's up to the parole board. You know what I'm saying? So he gonna do the rest of his life in prison, right? All right, got him out the way. Now let's speak on the woman, the girlfriend, the accomplice, the accessory, right? So she ain't did shit. She just sitting in the passenger seat, just going along with the situation. The situation happened, boom. She get hit with this shit too, because she an accomplice to the situation. Meaning that if things would have went the right way, if he was able to rob them and take their money and they would have gotten in the car and pulled off and got away with it, she would have got to split the money with him. So just for her involvement, she got to go down as well. Even though she didn't hop out and pull a gun or none of that, she was involved with it. So she got to get hit with some time as well, right? So she is in court for her situation. Now, here's the thing with women, right? Most women, when they get caught up on cases, especially something serious like this, they get to talking. They don't waste no time. They telling, fuck that. Especially knowing that they got kids and, they don't want to spend the rest of their life in jail. They get to talking. So I could just believe she was in there like, yeah, he coerced me to do this. He put a gun to my head and said he'd kill me and the kids if we don't do what he say and blah blah blah. Shit like that. So with all that being said, a lot of times the system take that in consideration and say, you know what, this deranged man, he probably was tripping. So all right, we gonna go ahead and cut some of your time down, right? So with that being said, for her confession and her cooperation, and with her being a female, because let's just be real, the system go easier on the females than the men, right? With all that being said, she ended up getting 15 years, right? Okay. Now I know a lot of y'all thinking like, damn, she got off. She only got 15 years. That don't necessarily mean that she is going to get out in 15 years. It's up to the parole board. You know what I'm saying? And even so, 15 years is a lot of time for somebody that didn't even commit the damn crime. You was just there. That's still a lot of fucking time. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's get to the kids, right? So again, these was toddlers, right? Well, let's just say 15 years later, they grown. You know what I'm saying? They, if anything, they late teenagers going into their adult life. These kids is gonna be grown by the time they mama even eligible to get out. So the mother is gonna miss most of their life anyway. You know what I'm saying? And miss a lot of time of her life if she do just happen to get out in 15 years. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of time wasted for somebody that just sat in the passenger seat and didn't do nothing. But this is what happened when you involve yourself in a robbery game. Her best bet was she should have just been at home with the kids. You know what I'm saying? But she was in on the situation, so this is how it happened. You know what I'm saying? All right, now we got all that out the way, right? We ain't talked about their situation. We talked about the kids. Let's talk about the actual suspects, right? I mean, damn, not the suspects, the victims, right? So the victims, they call themselves, working hard, doing things the right way, going to work, being legal, doing what they supposed to do. Little did they know, they had some guys watching them they had a guy and a woman watching them the whole time to rob them for their check. Still to this day, we don't even know, and we probably will never know how much they checks was. So the crime that these suspects committed on somebody for their check, and on top of that, they was cashing their check at a convenience store, probably like a gas station, a liquor store, a party store, something like that. Meaning that check probably wasn't that much, probably like $1,000 at the most. You know what I'm saying? So they worked hard all week. They got their check. They ready to cash their check, have a couple drinks, go do whatever they do. And they being followed by two people that's being thirsty over whatever it is that they cash their check for, right? So they get followed. Boom. Next thing you know, damn AR-15 getting upped on their ass. Scared the shit out of them. You know what I'm saying? And then boom, one of the damn victims ended up getting killed behind this shit. So just think about the other victims that was in the car with their friend that got killed. They got to live with that for the rest of their life. You know what I'm saying? Sad case. So with that being said, let's go back to the woman that was involved with this shit. Let's just say in 15 years from now, when she go see the parole board, those victims, they could be there and say, hey, we don't want her to get out. She was in on our friend getting killed over a check. They could even tell the parole board, hey, our check wasn't even that much. We only got a check for $100. We only worked one day that week. Our check was $100. And we had to watch our friend get killed for $100. They could say some shit like that. And the parole board can say, you know what? Nah, you ain't ready to come out. Boop, denied. You see how that worked? It's not always up to the judge when you get out. It's just up to the judge to sentence you. It's up to the parole board to let you out. And if you got victims speaking out against you, it's a good chance you're gonna get denied. How many parole reaction videos have we done went over? And y'all done seen people getting denied because victims then got up there and spoke on these people and said, nah, don't let them out. Don't let them out. All right, denied. It's just that damn simple. You know what I'm saying? So these victims that was a part of this crime, they could do the same shit to this woman in 15 years from now. And she can be in there for another 15 years after she served her 15 years, depending on how the victims feel. You know what I'm saying? So this whole case was crazy as hell over a check that probably wasn't even that much. Let's put it like this. How many times have y'all done got a random check from like an old job or something for like 50, $60? You know, like a little back pay check, you know, you didn't even know that they owed you this 50, $60. You know what I'm saying? They just sent it to you in the mail. Said, hey, you worked 4 hours just one day. We forgot to pay you. Here you go. You probably quit that job a year ago. You know what I'm saying? And they just sent you a check a year later for 40, $50 or something. You know what I'm saying? It could have been that kind of situation. It could have been an old check that just came in the mail for a couple of dollars that they cashed. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what the fuck the amount was. And the people that robbed the victims, they don't know either. All they know was they seen some guys going there with a check to cash they shit and they came back out. Oh yeah, follow them. Get on them. When all three of them together probably was $300-400. I'm just throwing out a number. I'm not saying that's exactly what it was, but just to say, if it was just $300-400, y'all caught a whole fucking murder over a couple of dollars. People don't be thinking, man. Again, I get it. I understand the robbery gang shit. I was out here robbing shit too. I get it. But this is what I mean about how dangerous it is thinking, oh, okay, I'm gonna just stick this person up and take their money and that's gonna be that. And then fuck around and turn into a damn murder. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be cautious with this shit, man. This shit is real out here. You know? So they played the game, man. They got booked. Right? All right, now let's have that prison talk. Let's wrap this shit up. Let's do this prison talk. Y'all know how we do it, right? All right. So now the suspects got their time. Dog got 55 years, girl got 15, right? Now with him, when he go behind the walls, that level 4, shit like that, I don't believe that he gonna be somebody's girlfriend. Why you say that, Mr. Roll Up? Well, because he in there on a robbery that turned into a murder. Most guys in prison, they respect uh, robberies. You know what I'm saying? Most guys in prison are in prison for like robberies, self-defense, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the type of crimes in prison that you get respect for. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes again, the robberies turn deadly. But if the whole MO was about getting some money, a lot of guys in prison respect that shit. You know what I'm saying? So he might not get touched because he was in there on a robbery that turned dead. You know what I'm saying? Because he was in there trying to get some money. Now, all the other times I tell y'all about motherfuckers that's gonna be somebody's girlfriend, be some little puny motherfuckers, and they did some horrendous ass shit to kids or women, things like that, you know. But this wasn't the situation. It was a robbery that went bad. So again, he might not get touched for that because a lot of people in prison respect robberies. That's just what it is. These are criminals. You got to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so he might be straight in that aspect, but at the same time, ain't nobody gonna support him because he landed himself in prison basically for the rest of his life for trying to rob somebody for a couple of dollars. Don't nobody want to be attached to somebody that do some crazy shit like that, because then that make them look bad for them supporting somebody like that. And he gonna be doing the rest of his life. Ain't nobody gonna be supporting that for the rest of his life. You know what I'm saying? So more than likely, he not gonna have no outside help. And on top of it, he got this woman involved in his situation, and them kids was involved. So more than likely, ain't nobody gonna support him. So he gonna have to get it out the mud in prison. Like he gonna have to work a prison job, try and save up all the little couple of dollars he gonna get. He gonna might have to do some gambling on the side. He might have to wash some clothes, cut some hair. You know what I'm saying? He gonna have to find some hustles in prison because ain't nobody gonna support this shit. You know, it is what it is. Now with the woman, she might get a little family support. You know, they might feel sorry for her or whatnot. Uh, she can play the victim to them and things like that. They might feel sorry and help her out. And she don't got a life sentence like he do. So she might got a sister, a cousin, or something like that that might look out for her. You know, make sure she's straight, things like that. But at the same time, she lost a lot of time out of her life for being a damn passenger princess. You know what I'm saying? So to the ladies out there, let's put it like this. If you messing with a thug ass nigga and you know he be on that type of time, I can't stop you from doing what you're doing. But let me tell you this. If he about to go out and hit a lick and do something, do not be involved with that shit. You know what I'm saying? If he threatening you to, do something with him or whatever, call the police. Because this shit can happen to you. You know what I'm saying? For real. And you got kids out here, you don't want to risk that. Now let me say this, right? With the kids. Now the kids is taken from them. The kids is in what they call it CPS or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Child Protective Services, they got them kids now. So the kids is lost in the system and everything behind this, stupid ass crime that shouldn't have happened anyway. So again, to the ladies, if you messing with a guy that caliber, don't get involved. Especially don't have your kids involved. Because this gonna be your outcome. CPS gonna take your kids and your ass gonna go to prison for a long ass time. How about that? It's been another episode of Roll Up a Power. And I said this was gonna be short, but my bad, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I had to break everything down. You know what I'm saying? So get your blunts rolled and your drink poured.